And now, hour number two of the live Talk 99.5. Talk995.com. Andrew McLean, who.com, the Talk 99.5 app, and all the things you need in order to get us. Get us right here on the station, man. Take us with you. Take us with you wherever you go. We would appreciate that. You want to get in on the show? Here's a way to do it 205 545 9950 545 9950. Real quick before I do hop to the phones, let me just run through this real quick. So the the Houthi rebel group in Yemen targeting Saudi tankers in the Red Sea is essentially a a mirror image of what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. It's kind of the same thing, and but it's not a new thing. So it's not equal to what we see in the Strait of Hormuz. Like we had to deal with this last year, and we handled it. The Houthis are not really the same as the IRGC, if you will. Yes, they're both under the control or support of Iran, but it's a little different. So the Houthis armed forces described the blockade in a statement as a maritime embargo against the criminal Saudi enemy based on the equation of an eye for an eye, effective immediately. According to a spokesperson for the UN Secretary General, Antonio Gutierrez warned on Monday that the blockade risk an even wider regional conflict. We said, we've seen the reports and are very much concerned by the renewed Houthi threats against Saudi Arabia, against freedom of navigation, which leads to the risk of an even wider regional escalation. Trump, however, responded to the Houthis' threats, telling reporters, quote, "We'll have to see what happens." Noting that no attacks had taken place, just threats, he said, if something like that happens, we'll take care of it. He pointed to actions taken against the Houthis like Operation Rough Rider in the spring of 2025 when they last targeted shipping in the Red Sea. He said, quote, "I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business." I like that. I like it. This is from CBS. Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi rebels claimed an attack on a commercial oil tanker in the Red Sea on Wednesday. So they did attack an oil tanker yesterday. UK Maritime Trade Operations Center said Wednesday it received reports of a tanker being hit by an unknown projectile off the coast of Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea, causing an onboard fire. No casualties were reported. At around the same time, a spokesperson for the Houthis said on social media that the group carried out an operation to attack two Saudi oil tankers. Days earlier, Houthis threatened a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia, which has fought the Yemeni group for years. The apparent strike could pose further problems for the shipping industry that is already struggling with the Iranian threats to attack unapproved ships in the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway, blah, 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 blah. So this is all, there's a lot of different things going on at the same time, and it's difficult to keep up with. It's kind of difficult to keep up with, but the president is watching all of it in real time and seems to have no real concerns about accomplishing this. Of course, it's more complicated than people thought it was going to be in the beginning, and that's just that's just the way war works. It's very unpredictable, and even though this is not really a war, it's more of a conflict. It's more of a one-sided deal. You still have things that are unpredictable, and you have to adjust and maneuver. I saw a great explanation from J.D. Vance. I don't remember which podcast he was on, but he was talking about how this is a very a very strategic maneuver that they're making, in the sense of military action and negotiations going on at the same time that at some point will meet in the middle and result in a desirable outcome. Let me go to Rick on the line. Rick, what's up?
Yeah, I was just sitting around here thinking, with all the trouble we got in this earth, this is still the most desirable place. Uh, and it's all because we built a country around the Word of God. Uh, this is sacred ground, and everybody ought to kick the shoes off and stay a while. At least they want to, don't they?
Oh, yeah. That's why even the
I was
communists want
thinking
to come to
about,
this country, don't they?
yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about natural law. That's what we got. It's natural law. Everybody knows how to act, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They're born with a conscience. It's just like an animal is born with an instinct to take care of their young.
Yep.
Natural law.
Everybody's
Anyway,
got it
you're right.
embedded in
Don't
them.
come from the government. If you believe that, you are LOST, lost.
Lost. I agree.
Love you. Long time.
Love you.
Thanks.
Love you long time, Rick. Oh, man. I love Rick. He's something else. He's crazy. 205-545-9950. Yeah, so Trump's a busy man. Trump's a busy man, and he's gonna be at I don't even remember what Caroline Levitt said it was. He's gonna be at some event today touting economic something. I don't remember. He just that's what's crazy about it. As much as I keep up with this, I'm still like there's a lot of times where Trump will pop up at an event or JD Vance will pop up at an event, and I don't even know about it. Of course, I could go check their schedule, but I don't check their schedule every day. I just kind of wait for it to happen. But just shows you how hard that man's working. So he was in, I believe it was Marietta, Georgia yesterday, and he was touting a lot of different things, but he had just, and we were talking about this on the show, he had just left Dover Air Force Base where they were having the dignified transfer of the 4 soldiers back here at home. And apparently one of the fallen soldiers' families were from that area. And Trump found out about it and essentially said, hey, I'm headed back in that direction. If you would like to ride back with me. It's crazy. It's crazy that he thinks about this stuff. And nobody knew about it until he got down there and talked about it. Listen to what he said. This is Trump in Marietta, Georgia.
4 great U.S. service members killed in the conflict with Iran. As they returned to American soil at Dover. And one of the families happened to be traveling to Georgia. Beautiful family, beautiful wife and husband and brother-in-law. And I said, I'm going to Georgia too. Where are you going? She says, well, after this, sir, they lost their beautiful son. We're going to Georgia. I said, so if you want, I'll give you a ride on Air Force One. And they said, wow. Wow. So today, I then said they're on Air Force One, and it's quite nice, I must say. And they said, wow, this is something, thank you so much. But they're heartbroken, they're heartbroken. But they couldn't believe it. And they live very close to here. They live minutes away. And we're here today, and I said to them, celebrating the memory of their this was a beautiful son.
Yeah, they so Donald Trump gives them a ride on Air Force One back. I assume that's where they live. They were going back home to Georgia. It's the family of Army First Lieutenant Tyler J. Feehan is who the soldier was, and I thought that was just a super cool move on the president's part. Where, yes, it was a somber moment and a time of mourning, and he is the commander-in-chief. It is his job to comfort those families, but had the wherewithal to say, "Oh, you're going back to Georgia. Would you like to, get a flight straight back and not have to deal with the airport and everything else?" And I'm glad they took him up on that. That was really cool. It's the thoughtfulness, and you've seen that throughout not just Trump's time in politics, but you've seen it throughout his life. I mean, he really has. As much crap as he gets for what he says or who he makes fun of and all this other stuff, he is a very thoughtful individual. And I know some people will laugh at that. Oh, yeah, Donald Trump. But he really is. And I think that's super cool. So he talked about that, but he talked about in many other things, including the communism that we talked about at length yesterday. And I think he frames the socialist movement or the rise in socialism in this country better than anybody else.
America is back. It's stronger than ever before. And I'm telling you, it's only going one way. It's going up. As long as we keep our current thinking, our current system, it's going up. If you go the other way, nothing ever succeeds. I made the statement once, with communism, everything turns to shit, okay? It's true. Terrible thing.
Terrible thing. Terrible thing. I mean, he's right. He's right about that. Everything turns to ish. I saw a meme earlier, and it was like a T-shirt or something, and it said, "I'm too." God, I'm going to butcher this. I'm too old to learn about socialism, or I'm too old to live under socialism because I'm addicted to luxuries like toilet paper and water and food. I'm not going back. I'm going to keep those things. You don't get to keep those things under socialism. It's few and far between. Everything's a lot more sparse, and you get your portions, and that's it. Just ask anybody that's from a socialist country how that works out for them. We are it's amazing because we are a country that uses stuff in excess, so much excess. Like, you think about the things we throw away. You think about like, if you were to go through the dumpster of a retail store, right? Say a clothing store, you would find a ton of unused products, clothes, and whatever that they have just thrown away because it's no longer, on their inventory list or whatever. Like, the corporation has a rule that instead of maybe donating those clothes to a local shelter or a thrift store, they have to throw that stuff away. You think about the amount of food that's thrown away at restaurants. You think about the amount of food that we as individuals throw away at home. I mean, I'm the king of leftovers, but we still have to throw away food at home. I mean, most of the time we give it to John Bird, but we do throw food away because it sits in the fridge for a few days, and by the time we think about it, we're like, oh, that's no good anymore. You got to throw it out. We live in a country where we have that luxury. And in these other countries that have implemented said socialism, they don't have that luxury. No, they're going to eat everything they got because they get so little. Imagine going to the grocery store and being told that you can only get X number of items. And that's it. No matter how much money you got, no matter how much money's on your card, you have a 5-item limit. So you better get your rice and your bread and your milk and your water. Because that's what you're going to be eating for a week. That's the way you want to live. The thing is, the socialists in this country, the Democrat socialists, they don't want to live that way either. They're all out here tweeting on their iPhones and drinking lattes at Starbucks and everything else, not realizing that if they actually got their way, they'd have none of that. None of that. And going back to mommy and daddy's won't be an option because mommy and daddy's going to be living the same way you are. But they don't get it. They don't have enough brain cells to understand that. 205 545 9950. More The Line coming up right after this. So there was another question that was posed apparently to Caroline Levitt about whether or not the Trump or the administration is going to intervene in the extradition process of the Tate brothers, which is Andrew and Tristan Tate. And Caroline Levitt said no. What happened recently is they were, they're big social media guys, and they're super rich and gained a lot of popularity, and they're very polarizing. Some people love them, some people like them, some people hate them. But there had been accusations of what they called sex trafficking, which consisted of some sort of cam girl website that was ran years ago and everything else. And there seems to be scant evidence on what they're trying to use to throw these guys in prison. And so they continued to get let off the hook, and they travel all over the world. And I think they were live in Romania or whatever. But anyway, they come to Miami, and then U.S. officials end up arresting them because the U.K. was trying to get their hands on them. So we arrested them and are extraditing them to the U.K. And I saw one of his videos, and he talked about how he spoke with the UK authorities, and they said they wanted to talk to him. And he said, I'll talk to you if you tell me what I'm accused of and who the accusers are, so I know what exactly we're dealing with here. And they refused to do so. So he's like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. But apparently some deal was cut, and the Tate brothers were arrested and being sent off. And I don't know. I don't really know the backstory to all that, but I missed that question that was asked to Caroline Levitt. Her answer was no, that the Trump administration is not going to get involved in or intervene in the extradition process of the Tate brothers, if anybody's even interested in that. I don't know that anybody's even following that story, but that's out there. Donald Trump, though, back to him and the idea that everything dealing with communism turns to ish. That points us right back at Zohran Mamdani. And even though, as we talked about yesterday, he found out the hard way that he has no authority to arrest anybody, much less the leader of Israel, the reaction from some, including John Fetterman, was actually pretty good. I may bring that to you when we get back on the other side. Also, James Carville with a good take on the Democrat Socialist of America. Let's keep it rolling, baby. 205-545-9950 will get you in. Richard the Cop is on the line. What's up, Richard?
Couple of things. The thing with President Trump bringing the people back to Georgia, your state, giving them the ride back after their son had been brought back from overseas being killed in service. No other president in this world has ever done anything like that. That shows you true character. No matter what people say, no matter what people like about how he does or what he does, that shows his true character and his true belief in what our service people do every day.
I agree, 100%.
Next,
and it's funny because, I was going to say it's crazy because we've seen over the course of time that Donald Trump's been in politics, the left's attempt to paint him as anti-military. These bogus rumors that he was. Yeah, they went for a long time. Says he calls our soldiers that had given the ultimate sacrifice suckers and losers. Like, the John McCain stuff, all this and that and the other. And it's like, do I believe an anonymous report from MSNBC, or do I believe what I see with my own eyes with Donald Trump's actions when it comes to the troops?
And the last thing is going to be a little controversial, but I'm just going to say it. Are you familiar with who Vlad the Impaler was?
Vlad the Impaler? Is that a wrestler?
He was the one they named Dracula after eventually. When the Muslims invaded his country, he made a forest out of them. Look it up. I don't know what you can say on the radio about it, what you can't. But look it up.
What part of the world was that?
That was overseas. Good God. Hold on, y'all. We got a malfunction going on here.
Will that be Transylvania, since it was Dracula?
It was in that area, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one they named the fictional Dracula after.
Yeah.
But every Muslim that tried to kill his people, they made a forest out of them.
Made a kebab out of them?
So I got a client in the car, so I don't want to discuss it. And I'm behind a tractor trailer broke down on 65, so I got to make a quick move to get out of here.
All right, buddy.
Roll time, boys.
You mean you don't want to talk about Dracula killing Muslim people from back in the day with your passenger in the car, Richard, with a random Uber passenger? Come on, maybe they got an opinion on it. Put them on the phone. That's what I want. That's what I want Richard the Cop to do. I want him to put a passenger on the phone. Just see what happens. See how it goes. But anyway, Moran Zamdami, or Zoran Mamdani, however you pronounce his name. Yesterday we talked about it at length with his comments and his desire to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. Fetterman was on with who was he on with? What was that lady's name? Oh, Greta Van Susteren. Y'all remember her? She used to be on Fox News a long time ago. She is on Newsmax now. She's got her own show on Newsmax. I don't know what it's called. But she was talking to him about a post that Trump had made in response to Mamdani's whole "I'm going to arrest Netanyahu," which Trump's post said, Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He is fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters and has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. And so she read that to John Fetterman to get his reaction, and here's what he said.
Making these threats, he doesn't even have the authority to do this, I don't believe, to make an arrest like this.
He's a total clown. I mean, he has the authority to arrest Netanyahu any more than I would have the authority to arrest him in Washington, D.C. if he visited down in Washington, D.C. You're a mayor, dude. Pick up trash. fix some potholes, and really fix the homeless problem in your city too. You're way out of your league, and now this is irresponsible. But like I said, he's just a total clown, and it's just for clicks at this point. He knows that he has nothing actionable.
He's just a clown. He says, "You're a mayor, dude. Pick up some trash, fix some potholes, do mayor stuff. Quit talking. Quit talking about arresting world leaders, bruh." God, man, Fetterman makes so much sense these days. She then goes on to say the prime minister is expected in the United States when the UN General Assembly opens again in September, so he will be here. What's interesting is that in the past, he has been unable to refuel his plane in countries that are signatories to the International Criminal Court. So he's been strategic in how he gets here. I think he can now come all the way here without refueling, but it is a lot of saber rattling towards the prime minister. He is expected to be in New York very soon. John Fetterman says it's not even that. It's just this cheese ball running his mouth. That's the thing. He says, again, the mayor does not direct arrest. The police enforce warrants. There is not a warrant. America is not part of the ICC. Yeah, so there is, and I don't have a list of the countries that are signatories to the International Criminal Court, but they will have nothing to do with Israel or, well, maybe not just Israel, but Benjamin Netanyahu, while the ICC has a warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu's arrest, which is crazy. And it's why we're not a signatory to it. I mean, it literally, to us, it means nothing. It means nothing at all. And for the people that are signatories, I mean, I would imagine that it's voluntary for them as to whether or not they use their their law enforcement or their authorities to arrest certain individuals that have been accused of war crimes. But all of these international groups, whether it's the ICC or the WHO or even, regional alliances like the EU or what, like, screw y'all. Like, why would we care about anything you have to say? And this is not even a defense of Netanyahu, who I've got issues with him on different things. Like, he's just like any other politician to me, he's got some good, some bad. But I have nothing good to say about the ICC or the WHO or any of these globalist organizations. They can all shove it. Like, you're not telling us what to do. We're not abiding by some sort of subset of rules that's created by random jabronis from different countries that have no idea about what's best for America. What they actually do, and they actively avoid it. And we've seen that. We've seen that in the UN. We've seen it in NATO. We've seen it time and time again where they try to push the U.S. to the back of the line, all while making the U.S. pay the majority of the money to keep those organizations going. So they've treated us like crap. So why would we listen to anything that you losers have to say? We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. But Democrats are, they're upset about these commies. Some of them. There are a lot that have latched on. We talked about Jamie Raskin yesterday, Kamala Harris, AOC, J.B. Pritzker. A lot of these individuals are just going along with it, and some of the more common sense, and maybe not even common sense, but loyal Democrats, dare I say lifelong Democrats, are standing off to the side, pulling their hair out, saying, "What are y'all doing? Why are we? I mean, you are destroying the party." Like James Carville, who's as kooky as it gets. There's not many people that's more bat-ish crazy than James Carville, right? But even he when it comes to the Democrat Socialist of America is like, what in the F are y'all doing?
Read something to you, and I'm going to tell you why this is typical. A progressive House candidate who served in a battleground district in Michigan as long Democratic Party officials once said black U.S. political leaders are a pillar of the capitalist and imperialist American establishment. Yeah, Jim Clyburn is part of that. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly who Martin Luther King was. Yeah, you're right. That's who John Lewis was. And these people are paternalistic, and it's a bunch of overeducated little white turds who think they know more than other people know, and they know what's wrong. And they're going to go and then you got, they're talking about indicting Netanyahu. And that the problem is you have a candidate, a DSA candidate, New York, saying we should be against interracial dating. Let me tell you something. These people, and these are to all my black friends and people like me, they think they know more than you do. They think their history is more glorious than yours. They think that Lenin was a more glorious human being than Martin Luther King or Frederick Douglass. That's what they really think. And if you know that, you don't know your history. And you should view these people with extreme skepticism, because they think they know what's better for you than you know what's better for you. And they think they know your history better than you know their history. This ass don't know what he's talking about.
So he's reaching out to the to black Democrats and saying, "Hey, you better watch out for these people because they're trying to boss you around. This is a bunch of highly educated white liberals who romanticize the idea of socialism, which will absolutely not destroy the country, but destroy the Democrat Party. And people like James Carville is going to feel like he's got nowhere else to go." The great thinker, James Carville, which will go down as in the history books of one of the most important theologists of our time, as you can imagine. As once he said that Donald Trump has syphilis. "I'm no doctor, but I believe that the president is suffering from syphilis." Y'all remember that? That was good. That was a fun time. 205-545-9950. Let's keep it rolling right here on the line. I'm watching videos of people eating wasabi for the first time at hibachi restaurants. So, of course, they don't know what wasabi is. Never had it before. And their friends or their family is convincing them to take their chopsticks and just take a whole big glob of it and eat it. And the look on their faces, dude. It was so good. Because, I mean, wasabi, I don't even know what wasabi's made out of. I guess that's like horseradish or something, but it's like, yeah, I can imagine, dude. It makes you feel like your brain's exploding. I like wasabi. I just like a little bit of it. Just a little bit. That's what we had last night, by the way. Not wasabi, but we had hibachi. We had hibachi, and it was good. We went to Mount Fuji out on Highway 280. Pretty nice place. People were super nice. I don't go out and eat very often, so it was nice to get out. Victor Davis Hanson, who's a guy I highly respect, a very smart individual. He's obviously a conservative. He's like a constitutional scholar. He was recently on his podcast talking about this Mamdani stuff and rising in socialism and the DSA leftist. And he basically asked the question, do you think we fought wars from Iwo Jima to Gettysburg so these overly educated white liberals could come in and lecture us on how society should function?
If you attack the nuclear family as abnormal, and the left does, then you have no civilization. If you think you have to be tolerant to people with psychological problems that sleep on the street, but if you think Los Angeles defecating, there was an article about 100 and something pounds of human waste, 180,000 pounds that they removed from MacArthur Park in Los
Oh,
Angeles.
Mike, are you kidding?
No,
Holy
they list. So the homeless, that is medieval. That is medieval. If you think 10,000 people coming across the border to swarm the social services of poor U.S. citizens is compassionate, without any audit at a time when people were being forced to wear masks, to self-isolate, and to get experimental mRNA vaccinations. If you think that's moral, that's anti-civilizational.
Right.
And so this party is a Jacobin, 1960s, Symbolese, Liberation, Weatherman, all that conglomeration of anti-civilizational stuff. And when you see the agenda of the Democratic Socialists, I mean, it's very funny to have these young kids start mouthing off, well, we don't like the name president. We're going to get rid of that. And, you know, the Senate, that's a wealthy person. That's not fair. We're just going to get rid of that. And then we'll expand the House, and that'll be just like a radical Athenian whatever they say is the law. And, of course, we'll get rid of the Supreme Court. We'll get rid of the president. And they have all these ideas, and you think, do you think that Hamilton and Jefferson and all these people died for you people? Do you think that we went 250 years and we fought everywhere from Iwo Jima all the way to Belleau Wood to Gettysburg so that you people could just walk in, many of them from first or second generation immigration, lecturing us? Oh, I think your system is no good, and I've decided that when we take power, we're going to get rid of the Constitution, and the founders are all racist, and and we're just going to say, okay, we got your. No, that's not going to happen.
Don't like his impressions. He's like, well, the founders are racist and blah, 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 blah. But he's got a point, and it makes me think, because I have pondered for the past few days as to how did we even get here. And I think what this stems from is what a lot of this country's problems as of today stem from. And it is 4 years of Biden's wide open border. We knew and we hypothesized over what was going to be the result of millions of people pouring into this country, caravan after caravan. But one thing that I don't think anybody expected was the rise in socialism. And this migration from people all over the world, many of which are from third world and socialist and communist countries, are now trying to implement that in the U.S.